Hey guys, Brock here. So super excited for today's install. Guess what we're getting rid of? That rear bumper. So Rago Fabrication sent out their full width bumper, which comprises of replacing this part completely and then the wings as well. It's a nice look, but they sent it out. We got it last night. We unboxed it and ready to go. So the first thing we need to do, and actually where this video picks up, we need to go through unboxing how to remove your bumper from your box because it comes mummified, which is a really good thing. So it's not shop first. We're gonna cover unboxing because you're gonna need it. But then we're also gonna get straight into removing the rear bumper. So the first 26 steps is actually on removing the rear bumper. We're gonna have to do some sensor relocations, all that. So the blind spot that's over there, we're gonna have to reuse some brackets. It's pretty involved. So they list it as skilled, meaning to say that you know done this a couple times and you actually know what you're doing. But parking sensors, blind spot sensors, there's some cutting, there's some rib nuts. So it's one of the more advanced ones. If you are a DIYer traditionally and have installed some of this stuff on your own previously, you'll be fine. You just got to have the courage to do it. So let's get into unboxing and then let's get into removing. All right guys, so in a not shop first, I am going to give you a tutorial on how to unpackage this. So if with the box closed, you try to just grab everything out, nothing's gonna happen. So do yourself a favor, and you can already see where I'm going with this. So when the box is like this, trying to lift that stuff straight out isn't gonna happen. Grab some box cutters and cut along the sides there and there, hold it down, and then you can just kind of peel this out. So, but I realize it's a little tedious, but you know what sucks even more? Waiting 2 to 4 weeks for lead time and then finally getting your bumper that you've been waiting for and paid for, and finding out that the courier decided that fragile was more of a suggestion than an instruction. So I will happily do this, and it's actually a little fun. But yeah, when you get it, I would recommend cutting there and there, peel this back like an onion, and then just go at it. So you're welcome. Guys, now that it's daylight and we've demummified everything, this is, you know, kind of what you're left with. So a good rule of thumb is if you see this type of material, this gray stuff, there's probably a component in it. Every single one of these was wrapped in gray, and then additionally wrapped with some of that bubble wrap over there. The only thing that was not wrapped, and it was sitting right on top, but as you can see by the remnants still sealed in there, the hardware box did not come in this type of plastic. But when you're unboxing and, you know, kind of extracting all of your parts like the paleontologist that you are, look for the plastic, and there's a part in there. Now, one thing that I will point out is I did not throw the box away, and I would encourage you guys not to throw the box away until you're done. Just in case there's, I don't know, something. I'm paranoid like that. What can I tell you? So these are your parts. Now's a good time to go to the Rago website and download the install instructions, and then we're going to be opening up the hardware, this guy right here. We're going to unwrap this and this and this, and we're just going to kind of lay everything out back here, make sure that everything's nice and complete and ready in advance. But once we get that done, we're going to start taking this off. So get your parts out, get them set to the side, make sure everything's there, and then start getting into this. And that's where we're going right now. We're going to get into this guy. It is involved. All right, guys, so step one, and we are going to do this strictly by the book, is we need to remove, in this case I have the lovingly called half diaper. Some of you have the big old monstrosity that comes over and covers all that up. There's 2 tabs at the bottom of either. So there's the 2 for the half. Again, I switched mine out. The other 2, I believe, are just right there. But what you do to get these is, I have in this case a hook tool. Some of you may not. So the other thing that works just super easy is a screwdriver. You get the screwdriver in between that outer and the button there, if you will. There we go. And then give a little twist. Yep, And there we go. Little button pops out like that. Go ahead, grab it by that button, and just pull straight out. Do the same thing over here on the other side. Again, we're just gonna put it in between the outskirts and that button. Let me get a better angle here, personally. So we're gonna go ahead and go between that and that, get it in there, underneath, twist, grab it by that same button, pull straight out, and boom. And your full size will be pretty much the same, but once that comes out, this should just pull sharply. There we go. So now it's removed. Obviously, I'm gonna need to remove my Rhino USA tow hitch assembly, but that's step one. Put these off to the side. Do not lose anything. All right, guys, so the next step is a fun one and is gonna separate quite a few of you right now. You're gonna need one of these. It's a plastic trim removal tool. What we're gonna do is slide this between the bumper and this top plate and get it in there and wiggle it a little. You might have to try a couple different locations until you can find an acceptable spot. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so we got a little corner in there. Jam it, there it goes. And then pry up. And just work your way down the line like this. If you get to a section that you can't get into like this, just move, because it might be one of these in the way. So there we have, oh, there we go, there it goes. There we go. Okay, so we got that part. You can see it's nice. And then what we need to do, still working that from the edge, grab this and pull up and out. And there you go. Do yourself a favor. Don't grab here and just try to go forever. Just kind of walk down the line. You really want to try to not damage this type of stuff. So that's that first piece. Now, peace, homie. The next thing that they have us to do is to actually disconnect here and here. So we need to disconnect both sides of those. This looks very similar to the front. So on this one, I believe, kind of push down, and then, yeah, you do. You push down. I'm gonna need two hands, so I'm gonna let you guys go here in a second, but push down on this little tab here, and then push forward at the same time with your other hand. This one is just your traditional push down and pull type. It doesn't have that extra cage, so, but I'll need two hands. So this one, push down, pull out. This one, push down, push this white part forward, and then it'll automatically come out. All right, so we got that disconnected so you guys can see, you know, what it is. Again, push the button, pull forward, and then this one was just straight down. The next thing that we need to do actually is remove these plastic pieces. So what we're gonna do is, again, get our trim tool and go to this section and just kind of wedge it. It's kind of locked in. Let's see here. Now I will say that in the instructions they show that they pull starting here. So let's try that. There we go, that worked. Okay, so we're gonna grab this. Same thing with the cover, guys, okay? Don't just grab this end and rip it off. Kind of walk it down the line, if you will, you know? You pop one, move to the next, pop another. We don't want to damage anything. And I believe you are reusing this piece, so you definitely don't want to damage anything. So, there we go, that was a twofer. All right, now this guy's in the way, and lastly, hey. Okay, there we go. And pulled a little guy out there, no big deal. All right, So set him to the side. Do not throw those away. This little guy popped out. I think he just goes right in here. So we'll set him to the side. All right, guys. Now, the next thing we need to do is remove bolts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the instructions very clearly say retain hardware. So again, we haven't thrown anything away. We haven't even thrown a box away. Don't throw things away until you know your job's done. But in the meantime, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 millimeter. We're gonna get those knocked out real quick. You don't need me for that. Hold on to those 10, put them somewhere safe, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, guys, so I said 4, it's actually 6. In this really dark corner, there he is this guy. So we're gonna zip him out real quick. There he is. Okay, cool. So now we have our 6, which 4 are these guys and 2 are these guys. So we got those removed now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yes, I do off-road. Yay. Okay, next step. Okay, so the next step I'm very familiar with because I wrapped the vehicle and obviously I wrapped these. So we're gonna actually pull these, and they come from just pulling straight out overall, but they can be a little tricky. All right, guys, we got our pieces off. It was not easy. So I'd recommend starting here with your pry tool. And then there's 2 tabs on these guys. And again, I wrap my car, so don't give me a hard time. So there's 2 tabs on these guys that go on the inside right there. And they actually go in here and here. So if you have this piece removed, you can actually sneak a screwdriver in there and push so that you can easily remove it. So we got those out. The next thing is that we need to remove more 10 millimeter bolts. So the ones that we have to remove next are going to be this guy. See if you can get in there. So I think that guy needs to go, this guy, and this guy. So we're gonna go ahead and remove those now on both sides and then pick up from there. Okay, guys, so for the instructions, it was actually this one and this one. It doesn't say to remove this one yet. The other thing that it says is under the bumper. We need to remove these guys as well. So him and the other side. So, and that'll give you access to remove these plastic covers. So we're gonna remove the 10 millimeter bolts as listed in the instructions, set everything off to the side, and get them covers off as well. So I'm probably gonna take the opportunity to remove the tow hitch just to get it out of the way for now. So that's next. So remove those 2 as we did, and then I'm gonna get the 2 underneath. All right, guys, so we got all of our bolts there. The next thing that it's gonna call for is actually at the mud flaps. So you're gonna need to remove your stock mud flaps right here. Those are removed by 3 10 millimeter bolts. So 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 4th guy way in there that's another pop button. So get your screwdriver, put them in, pop them out. So we're gonna go ahead and take care of that now, and we'll come back. So we got our 3 bolts done. The next thing that we need to do is that little button, as I pointed out earlier. And then actually on the underside, guys, there's that little 10 millimeter needs to come as well. So we're gonna get that popped off, get these off, and move on to the next step. All right, so we got our mud flap off. The next thing we need to do is the trim pieces. So it's getting us ready to take this off. So you need to unbolt here. Now in the instruction, it tells you the 2 push pins here and here. I have 1 push pin there, and I have another one there, and then over here I have a 10 mil. So we're gonna remove this, we're gonna remove this, and we're gonna remove that guy. So itsy bitsy push pin, regular size push pin, 10 mil. All right, so I'm gonna go do that, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I was right. The next step is actually going to be removing the fender flare. I'm just gonna open my door a little so I can get a better feel And with this, sharply out, guys, okay? Just sharply out. Again, don't grab this and then rip it all. Just go down the line. You really don't want to ruin these. There we go. So these ones push in, these ones are a little more robust. So as you get further back, it's probably going to be a little harder. So we're going to continue and do the other side. And there we go. So sure enough, there's a little push pin on the bottom that I forgot. So I'll have to do that on the other side, but just be aware there is, oh no, it's not. Hold on, that's the screw that I undid. It just needs to come out. I'll get a body trim removal tool and pry that guy out. So once we get done with this, then the next steps are these guys, I believe. So I'm gonna get the other side undone and then we'll circle back. All right, so fender's nice and removed. Last thing is we need to get that guy, where is he? There he is. That guy right there. So yet another push pin and get that in. There we go. Guys, do be gentle with these. Any sort of road grime that you have kind of gets up in here, so they can be difficult. You really don't want to break these. If you do, you can get them on Walmart, but let's not then say we did. So there's that. We got to do the same on the other side. And then we have to circle around and find some push pins. So I'm going to get the other side and we're going to find those 4 push pins. Okay, another push pin on the rear bumper. So we're on the other side now. Both sides have these, so again, put it in and there we go, popped it out, removed right there. And then let's go behind the rear tire and get a better angle on this guy. There he is. And so yeah, see all the dirt coming out. That's why you kind of want to be gentle with these. So really what we're doing is removing this kind of rear portion from the wheel well, if you will. All right, come on, guy. These usually are the more difficult ones because they are exposed to whatever you run over when you're 4x. So there we go. So we got this guy done and that guy up there done. So all right, now we need to find these 4 push pins and I guess push. All right, so I know where the push pins are. We're gonna go ahead and get some of the tools I think we're gonna need. So just a regular pair of needle nose and some regular pliers right there. We're gonna start with those. Let's make our way to the vehicle. Now, it says that these push pins are on the corners, so here and here. So don't get dizzy, but you're coming with me under the vehicle so we can locate these things and figure out where they are. All right. Kind of peeking under here to see what we see. I don't know, I don't see nothing there. Maybe on the top side. No idea. Okay, so we got our little 4 done. Now we need to pull the side of the bumper. So we're gonna, again, with our hands, grab this and just pull towards us, straight towards us. Okay, hey. Typical Toyota stuff. All right, let's go to the other side. All right, guys, so bumper is removed. Pulled back on those, pulled back on those, did the same to the other side, made sure everything was clear. I even managed to save the foam piece, which I very rarely do, just in case. But yeah, that is your rear bumper now removed. Congratulations, your $70,000 vehicle has been reduced to plastic and foam. Yay. Okay guys, so our next piece is this, and the easiest way that I have found is screw drive and just righty-tighty, lefty-loosey until it clicks. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey till it clicks. And then we're gonna grab this and pull straight towards us. There we go. So there's that. We just got this piece left. All right. So boom, removed, boom, removed. Other side's already removed as well. And we've completed that step. Onwards to the next. All right, next step calls for the removal of this crash bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I can see on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are 12 millimeter bolts. So we're gonna get our power tool now and remove those 1, 2, 3 and those, and then remove both corner braces. We'll do so on both sides and pick up the video from there. Okay, the next step, we're back at the OEM bumper, and what we need to do is remove these parking sensors. And in big bright font, it clearly says to pry carefully that these are sensitive. So this is what you do, and I'm gonna do it on my own. These tabs here look like they go in. We need to actually push them out this way with both while pulling up, and we want to be very careful. So this is the part of the install where you really just you don't want to try to manhandle this. Take your time, be patient. These are your parking sensors. If you get these wrong, you're gonna know about it every single time you get in your vehicle, and it's gonna annoy you to death. So take your time here. But yeah, so basically, let's see how close I can get. When we open these up, you can see there's a little tab, and there's one on the other side. So you want to spread these open and then pull up. That requires 2 hands, so I'm going to set you guys down, but be careful with this. And then do take note of which side is which side, right? So I'm going to go grab a Sharpie and actually put P on this one for passenger and D on this one for driver's side. The instructions don't call for it, but that's just who I am as a person. So, all right guys, we're going to get those out and pick up from there. Okay, this next step is where I'm gonna lose some more of you. We need to trim, and it's a full width. So the instructions call it on this side. We basically need to trim all of this very tippity-toppity upper part out. Now, one of the things that they are very specific on is to make sure that you trim below, these lines. So this piece, if you will be going back onto the vehicle, and this piece is also used to retain the plastic piece that went right below the battery tray earlier. So I'm going to use a Dremel, and for me, and this might help you guys at home, I'm just going to follow this line that's already pre-existing. Here's a mount hole, so I'll go underneath that, and then I'm just going to follow the contour right here with my Dremel, and that should be nice and easy. So again, something I can't do with you guys, sorry. Gonna get my Dremel, make the cut, and we'll pick back up and I'll show you guys exactly what it looks like when I cut out. So, but take your time on this. All right, we got our cut done. So followed that contour down, use the Dremel, and pretty much just follow the seam all the way around in the molding. End results right here, and And as you can see, there we go. So it's gonna wrap around like that, but it's nice and clean. All cuts were made below the bolt holes, if you will, so this will mount right up. The next step is actually telling us to go ahead and put those back in. So we're gonna put these 1, 2, 3, 4 bolt holes back in and go from there. All right, team, so we got our plastic in. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. And don't forget the side ones here, 1, 2, 3, so on each side. So this is all nice and trimmed. The next thing that we need to do is put the plastic piece that we put safely to the side. So this guy right here is going to go back in as well. So we're going to go ahead and pop him right back in, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, if you cut correctly, your plastic trim just goes right back in. So we put the bottom piece first right there, and it all snapped in where it belongs, so we're nice and clean. And then we drop these back in as well. So right now, this is what you should look like after trimming. And as you can see, we don't have anything peeking out, nothing funky going on. So awesome. The next step that I saw is we're going to be working with these guys. So let's go to that. All right, we're into the Rago stuff now. So they provide 2 of these bars, 1 for each side. And this is going to reuse the 5 12mm bolts that we took off a few steps ago. So this essentially is just going to go right here to get mounted. And we're going to secure it using the bolts. So the bolts that we previously removed. And we also need to install 2 clips up here. So they do not give any indication. As you can see, this is kind of adjustable. So they don't give any indication on what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in and put it flush with the bumper like that for now. Actually, I'll probably go right in the middle and secure it in on both sides and pick up the next step. And hopefully we don't find out that we need to adjust this later, but if we do, it is what it is. Okay guys, so one of the things, and I didn't see it anywhere in the instructions, it just kind of like, it shows this, and then the next thing it's telling you need to install it with a bracket. So we need to actually remove this. So just push down on that clip, pull down. There we go. All right, perfect. So that is now out of the way. And this entire module actually is going to need to come off. And they didn't say anything about removing the bracket, but I think it's a pretty safe assumption since these things are so sensitive that we're going to need to. So we unplugged it here, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 bolts. And then there's this little white dude up here. So once you get the bolts 1, 2, 3, slide this guy up and he'll unhinge there, and then you can remove the whole bracket. So remove that plug and then remove those 3 bolts. The next step is going to require a heat gun. So what we need to do is remove these, and we're going to re-secure with double-sided stick tape. Now, that being said, these aren't designed to be removed. So what we're going to use a heat gun for is on a low setting, heat up the adhesive to make it a little bit gummy, and then we've got a scraper, and we're just going to go underneath it and slowly pry up. We want to be super gentle because we are reusing these and they are extremely important. You do not want to break them. So take your time. So we'll heat it up. I'll do this one with you guys right now. Again, just a really low setting, just heating it up. You don't want to touch it to this. We just want to heat it up like a hot day. We'll peel it off nice and clean, and then we'll get into cleaning it because we need to reapply to the new bumper. So, okay, so we heated that up. We got our plastic scraper. Now You may need to heat it, just so you're aware, you may need to heat it a couple of times. So, okay. So I got, I think, to the bottom there. Okay, so I'm just taking my scraper and going to what seems to be kind of the hole, if you will, this section. So, all right, I think I got mostly that side up now. Yep, okay. So now we're gonna heat, oops, now we're gonna heat the other side again, and then try to get that. Again, we don't want to touch the heat part to this. We're just heating up the adhesive so it's a little more pliable and peels easy. So we already did the right side. We're going to heat up the left a little and hopefully be able to peel this out. Okay, so we got left, we got right. Going on the back side here. Okay. Again, nice and easy. Okay. There we go. Yep. There we go. Okay, so nice and easy. Peel up on this nice and easy. We want to leave behind as much tape as we absolutely can. Because cleaning tape really sucks. Okay, there it is. So there we go, guys. We got it out. You know, the only thing we need to do now is kind of clean this up. And again, there's a couple different things. You can use your scraper, or you can do what I like to do. I like to take this, hold it, kind of heat this up, and then just roll it with my thumb. So hopefully you have tough thumbs. I've gotten blisters, but gently heat this up and just kind of roll it off, or use a plastic scraper. But this is nice and intact, and this is exactly what we want. So we're gonna get the other 3 now. This is number 4, and clean these off. And they include double-sided stick tape. So we're gonna go ahead and utilize that and get this stuck onto the new bumper. So I'm gonna get the rest off and we'll pick up from there. Okay guys, so for the next part, we need to put these parking sensors onto the bumper. So Rago provides double-sided stick tape, so we cleaned this up the best we could, but they provide double-sided stick tape. Now, this isn't what they provide. I have extreme mount because I live in Las Vegas, so we get asphalt effect. It gets really, really hot outside of the operating range. So the extreme tape for us works the best. But the methodology I'm going to show you is the same. So get your square and put it over your little tab, and then you're going to see you have this excess. Go ahead and trim that excess. This doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody's going to see it. And if you accidentally leave a little too much, you know, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything at all. So we have this all set up, rubbed in. So go with your thumb, rub as much as you can. Okay, now what we're gonna go ahead and do, and what I like to do, is first of all, tabs up. I like to take my heat gun and heat this up a little because the adhesive adheres better when it's a little bit warm. So we're not gonna get it super hot, just heat it up a little. So low setting again, get that all set up. So I set it there. Heating up. I'm just gonna, while that's heating, I'm gonna go ahead and peel this red backing. That should be good enough. Peel this red backing off. There we go. There's one. And there's 2. Okay, so we're gonna take this, same orientation that we took it off in, so tabs up. And we're just gonna line it right into that hole and press from the center first, and then we're gonna press the wings there on both sides to make sure it's nice and secure and that there's no little pockets of air or anything like that. You really want to push the air out so that you get maximum contact. And then I'd recommend heat it up again. So very similar to the way we heated it up to remove it, just kind of briefly. We just want to get it warm. We don't want to melt it. So we're going to heat it up again. Okay, and then push again. Nice and uniform, and there, it's nice and secure. Now we need to do the rest. So if you did not pay attention to what color you removed while you were removing them, the white one, so that one and his little buddy over here, where'd he go? There he is, his little buddy over there. The white ones are your inner ones, okay? The green ones are the outer ones. And it is important that you pay attention to the orientation of the green ones. And in fact, let me go ahead and cover that with you guys real quick, because I have one here. So here's the green one. And remember, this is the fender. So this is the outer part right here. And then the front of the vehicle goes this way. So this is where your rear deck is. These three tabs go towards the rear deck, right? So they're gonna go towards all these holes. And it's important on the outside because the outside ones, as you can see, they got a little bit of a taper to them. They're at an angle. And if you get it backwards, your sensors are not gonna like you and you're not gonna like driving your vehicle. So these three go in this orientation. So towards all these holes is the correct one. So just in case, now you guys know. So we're gonna get the rest of these mounted and we'll pick up the video from there. Okay guys, so this next part's kind of skipped on the removal and we just did the parking sensors. So this is your blind spot monitoring module and we need to remove it. And the way that we remove it, if you look in the back here, there's not really anything to go off of. So we're gonna start flat blade screwdriver. There's a little tab at the top. I'm gonna start there. Just kind of try to work this, see what we can do. Okay, so the bottom little tabs, definitely. Okay, so screwdriver on this side, thumb on the other. There we go. There we go. Okay, so that's what you do. Put your screwdriver on the one side, your thumb on the other, and push up, and my screwdriver's stuck. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Nice. So it's out. Again, as I've pointed out multiple times, I wheel, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up before reinstalling, but the part that you need is going to actually be in the hardware. In my case, it was in the hardware, so we're going to be taking this and securing it to the outer portion. So let me show you, basically there. So this guy is going to come through and peek through here, but we're going to get him cleaned up, and then it's going to be secured by the bracket on the other side like that. So we're going to get him cleaned up, and we're going to go ahead and get our nut washer bolt combo and get these buttoned in. So remove your sensor right there, clean them up, and then put them in. Remember, this portion here fits right into here, right? Obviously the other way, like, oh, sorry. Obviously the other way, so it'll go up like this, but this square fits perfectly in this hole, so that's where you're going with it, okay? The next thing we're gonna install is actually this piece. And the way to install this piece is it actually fits in just like this, okay? gonna go ahead and do here is we need to insert these little tab things into it. So this requires a little bit of oomph. There we go. So in case you're wondering what these are so the bolts will hold. So they go in just like that. There's 2 of them. So here's the other side. Okay. Okay. So now we have this set up. The next thing that we're gonna do for this piece is we're gonna grab our big Mama Jamba bolts and put them through right there and right there. And then what we do is we need our nut and our washer, and it goes first to the plate. There's the plate. Do not tighten at this time. So this is a 7/16 Allen head right here and a 9/16 socket. So we're gonna hold this in place and just get a bite on the nut so that it doesn't completely drop. There we go. That one on now, and we'll get this one real quick. So again, washer and nut. Again, we're not tightening at this time, right? We just want to get the nut on so that the plate doesn't drop, because we still need to make sure we get all lined up here. This is just a straight bolt, no washer. It's gonna go into that little rivet, or not rivet, but that tab that we put in. So there we go, that's nice and turning. And we'll go over, do the same thing on the other side and put that down. There we go. All right, so what we're gonna do now is go ahead and grab our Allen wrench. We're going to tighten down these first because we don't need any additional tools. There we go. So I get that snug but not tight, and do the same thing to the other side. Go ahead and get him snug. Oh, you might need to push down a little while you guys are doing these. There we go. Okay, so, oops. Now he's snug. He's snug. Let's snuggle him up a little bit more, shall we? Okay, so we got that taken care of. And we got our 9/16 socket, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. All right, so that is righty-tighty. And I'm just gonna put him on right here. Hold him in place, and now we're gonna tighten down the middle. There we go. All right, that's nice and tight. And last but not least, this is gonna be nice and tight. Yep. Okay, now we can tighten our ends down a little bit more now that we got everything nice and secure. So now that we have that and this, we are, oh, there it goes. All right. You don't need to over tweak this, guys. You really don't. Okay, so we got our supporting plate on to the next step. Okay guys, this next phase, we're going to be using the carriage bolts that they supply, and we're also going to be using these guys. So these carriage bolts are designed so that we're going to put the wings on, and you need to put them here like that, and then you take this and you just screw it on. And what these do is retain your bolts into place. So they are sometimes a little difficult initially, so that once you get it on, though, they tend to go easier. Hey. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna get a pair of pliers. Go. So we got a pair of pliers. Grab this and screw it on. Alright, so we're going to take these and screw them on. Oops. So these are not my favorite thing in the world. Just gonna try pushing it. That worked. There we go. Okay, so guys, with these, just push the metal thing on. So run it through, make sure your carriage bolt is locked into that little channel like that. And take this, just push this guy on. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to do this last bottom one. Again, you want to do the ones where this locks in. So do this bottom one. There we go. Grab our pliers. That methodology seems to work for us. And there we go. Push down. So now these will stay in, so when we put the wings, after we put this section, they'll just slide in and the bolts won't slide back. So pretty neat. I'm gonna do the other side and we'll go from there. Well, we're about ready to install the bumper, so we need to put 4 of these tabs. So we secured this bracket, and we need to do 1 tab here, 1 tab here, and then the same on the other side. So just like the main bumper with the support, what we do is get in there. We want to put the thread side obviously down, and then just, yep, squeeze it on in there. And there it is. So again, 1, 2, and then 2 on the other side. So we're gonna get those in and we'll pick up from there. Okay, center section is ready. So we got our 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs on, and we got our hardware right here. So we're gonna use the gold grade 8. Is it grade 8? Should be. Yeah, whatever. So we're gonna do that. So we're gonna grab, obviously I can't do both, so we're gonna grab the bumper and put it on, and then secure it with one of these in this orientation. So washer, bolt, then bolt down. So, but it just goes right there. So it's coming together. Yay. So it's a total of 8 bolts, 4 per side. And what I would say is hand tighten these until you get all 8 in, because those little tabs may need to be slid around, and they were. These 4 lined up pretty good, and as you can see, I didn't crank it down, so hand tight only, and then I'll get the ratchet and do that step next. But yeah, don't tighten down anything besides hand until you know that you got a bite on all 4, or you'll crank one down and then you'll have to slide the tab and you won't be able to because it's pinched, and then you'll have to loosen it and redo it, and you'll probably do the same thing again. So just by hand, get in there, tighten these like that, pull up, and make sure it's got a bite and you're good. So I'm gonna go now and tighten the rest of all of these, and we'll pick up from there. Okay, so we're about ready to put the side on, but we actually need to remove this as well. So I didn't do that in the previous step. So little button right there that we've been dealing with the whole time, and a 10 mil on both sides. But this plastic piece needs to come out. So we're gonna go ahead and do that and get ready to mount the side. All right, we got that little piece out. Now, the next thing we need to do is get the L bracket, they call it an L bracket, from our hardware bag. And then we also need a bolt, a washer, and a nylon lock nut. And what we're going to do is right below the vent, right here, we're gonna feed this guy through like this. So we're gonna put him there, and then we're gonna go ahead and put a washer and the nut and tighten it down. And the other thing that we need to do here is we actually need to bend this tab. It says either in or forward. The bracket is kind of in the way right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and bend this out like it shows in the instructions. It doesn't have to come out a lot, and we're not gonna cut it. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this down, and then I will show you guys the end result. All right, guys, we have that last bracket in. You can see where I bent it. So I let this kind of loose. Probably could have made it a little more loose. It's here for the support, but I want it to be able to swivel. So we got that in. Our next step is we're gonna put the side wing on. So it's gonna involve those bolts that we did earlier. And you're gonna need this hardware. So you're gonna need a washer, and 3 washers and 3 nuts. And we're gonna grab our wing here and basically just line it up and tighten it down. So it is a little bit heavier. Not gonna be able to take you guys on that little journey. But I did want to show you that, yep, we're set there. This is completely removed. So we are 100% ready for the side install. We already got our sensor in, and I'm gonna do that and we will pick it back up. All right, we got both wings on. So we had our 3 bolts that were sticking out there. Tighten those down. We did the L brackets, and you can see where those tie in now as well. So everything's set. The only thing we need to do now is our parking sensors. So I did go ahead and do exactly what I said earlier in the video. So I have passenger, and this is my inner, but yeah, and then I have driver, and this is my inner. So but I did go ahead and take the opportunity to label all those. Fun times. In any event, we are going to reinstall those by accessing this window over here, as well as getting up and underneath. They're just gonna fill in those that we put in earlier with the double-sided stick tape. And yeah, lastly will be the blind spot monitoring. We just gotta plug those in, and then we're good to go. But really happy with so far how this is turning out. So let's get them sensors hooked up, huh? So guys, when you're feeding this through, the instructions tell you to take this and put it through the little service window right there. Well, it doesn't fit. And I sat around for 5 minutes like a dummy trying to figure it out. Disconnect these. So disconnect right here, push down, pull out. Install this sensor from this side underneath, and then pass this wire through that. That's how you get it done. You cannot pass the sensor through that little wire. It's just not going to happen. So disconnect, then plug it in, and then pass the wire through. All right. That was a fun learning experience. All right, team, moment of truth. We got all of our parking sensors in. Nice flush, everything clicked. I will say, if you have any difficulty on the driver's side, this guy, try getting the inside of this one a little wet, and very, very little, or even just a little bit of like lubrication. There is a rubber grommet to prevent moisture from getting in. So when you undo it, it gets dry. So let's see if we manage to not have Christmas tree lights when we start this. Hey, all right. Yeah, TPMS has been out for a while, but no little lights. Let's see what reverse does.